Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video where I am using again the Lethal Wildflower palette to do this eyeshadow look. I really wanted to see if I could pull that green. There's like all the shimmers in here are multichromatic and they play tricks on you. So this one looks so green in the pan, and every time I've used it, it looks more blue. I really wanted to see if I could pull the green out of it. I think I did okay. Anyway, if you want to see what I did, then stick around. You know, I want to play again with the Wildflower palette from Lethal Cosmetics. This is brand new to my collection. This is the newest palette that I have. And each time I've seen anybody use this shimmer right here, it has pulled very blue, no matter what their skin undertones are. When I used it in my last look, my first look, again, it pulled very, very blue. I'm really curious to see what I compare this with to make it pull green, because it looks so green in the pan. So I'm thinking pinks. I'm thinking I'm going to pair it with this side of the palette and see if I can get this shimmer to pull green. I've already primed my eyes with the Glamly Icing Primer. I'm just gonna zoom through this look if I can, because I think my kids are gonna be waking up soon. I apologize for any background noise that might bother you. Somebody in our building is taking a shower and the water is very loud coming through the pipes. And also, if you happen to notice boxes in the background, we are planning on moving within a couple of months, so we're starting to pack up. That explains everything that you might be curious about. Let's go. I think I'm gonna dive right in with this pink matte. I was thinking of building up with a transition color, but I think I'm going to go right in with the pink matte. So there are no shade names in this palette, but I do have it in the original layout. Ooh, that's a pretty color. This is a Singe EO2 brush. If you missed my first video using this palette, you'll see that I bought it secondhand from one of my subscribers, actually. I saw the palette listing when I went to check out the profile. I realized it was somebody whose name I recognized. And she sent me a couple of Singe brushes in the package. It was such a kind and unexpected freebie, and I've been enjoying them. So there we go. I've got this nice color laid out here. Now I'm going to take the same brush, clean it off a little bit. I'm going to go into the lighter pink matte and put that over here. Did I use this one before? I think I did. I may have used this in my first look. It has some brush marks in the pan, but that could also be from the previous owner. These shadows blend together really, really nicely. It takes almost no effort to work the two colors together. Granted, these are two light pinks, right? Or pink tones anyway, so of course they're going to work together smoothly. But there are no harsh lines. It's a very easy to work with formula. It's not super grippy, but it doesn't blow out too easily either. It's somewhere in the middle. It's a nice formula. I'm sorry, I have to put something on my lips. My lips are so dry. This is the Hydrating Core Lip Shine. It's from e.l.f. Oh, that's an odd color. Or is it just my lighting? Does that look odd? That might not be the best color on me. This color looks blue to me. Does that look weird on camera? Maybe it's my lighting. It's like the sun's not up yet. It could be the lighting. I'm so curious because it didn't look like this when I bought it. You know, I have been noticing lately that the undertones of my skin seem to appear more blue than ever before. I was trying on shoes with my daughter, like sandals. So it was just bare feet and shoes. And every time I tried on a warm toned shoe, I saw this glaring difference between the warmth of the shoe color, whatever it was, whether it was ivory, orange, yellow, anything, and the cold tones of my skin. And then I've been noticing my hands as well. Like everything just seems like my blue undertones are being more pronounced than I remember before. It's very strange. I'm not really sure what to do with that. Like, maybe I'm just noticing more? I don't know. And now I feel like this lip color never looked quite so crypt-like. Okay, let's play with this green shimmer because I am really, really, really curious about it. I need a flat brush.
2,000 years later.
It took me way too long to find that brush. Also, I just realized that I didn't have my microphone on, so I just plugged it all in. Maybe you guys can hear me better now. I hope that you were able to hear the first part of the video. Okay, flat brush into this greenish shimmer. I will load up my brush and then I will spray it, because these shimmers are a little bit more dry and crumbly. They're pretty, they're very, very sparkly and nice, but they just are a drier formula. So I want to make sure that the shadow goes where I want it to go, stays where I want it to stay, and doesn't fall out on my face. So I'm just taking a regular setting spray and spritzing it. Okay, let's try it out. The goal is to make it look green, right? No blue or purple on my lid. Now, this shimmer does have some pink in it as well. So let's just see. See, it still pulls so blue. I mean, it's definitely pulling more green than before. But there's a lot of blue in there. Do you see that on the camera? How's that looking? I won't know until I edit the video. In my lighting right now, it looks, I mean, it does look blue-green. I will give it that. It looks more blue-green than just blue, like it did with my other look. And also in the videos that I saw when people used this palette, it looked quite blue. Don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. It's beautiful. But it's funny that it just looks so green in the palette, and every time I use it, and this isn't just undertones, because I know Aniela Kniekvist, when she used it, she's got like neutral golden undertones, I think is how she describes them. And other people who have more warm undertones, it still pulls blue. But in the palette, man, it looks so green. I want to see if I'll get a little more shine with my finger. There's been a whole conversation on my channel lately about using your finger and ending up with hard pan, and it is a real thing. Something to be aware of. Okay, now let's play with the pink shimmer, because I haven't really done that yet. I think in my previous video I swatched these three. I think I used all three at some point in the look. Now I think I'll swatch these last three. Oh wow, look at the green shift in this one though. Oh, how interesting. Okay, so this one on my finger is looking very pink purple. This one here is looking rose gold green. And then this one I see much more pink, like heavier on the pink. Maybe with a bit of blue. Oh, interesting. All of these shimmers are tricky, aren't they? Which one will work with my look the best? It's hard to say. You know what? That's the tricky thing about multi-chromes, because you expect one color and you might get a payoff of a totally different color, or depending on the way that you look, you know, the color is going to appear different as the light catches your eye from different angles. So it's really actually kind of hard to plan if you really want to know exactly what you're going to get. It's more like, well, this is what I think, or from this angle, this is looking good, but then from a different angle, it's going to look different, right? Do you guys see all the different shifts in these colors? Now, to be fair, all of the colors in this palette work beautifully together. There's not a chance of me screwing up. Whatever I choose is going to be pretty. I just don't exactly know what it's going to end up looking like. Let's do this one here, this shimmer here, this one. That's the one I'll do, and since it's on my finger, I'll just put that right on my lid, tapping it where the blue-green shimmer meets the pink matte. I really don't mind using my fingers. I never have crazy long nails, which is the reason that some people don't use their fingers. I do tend to like the way that I get a little bit more shine when I use my fingers. I actually think I'm going to deepen my outer corner a little bit. I'm slightly surprised that I didn't do that before, but I think I want to. I'm taking a Singe EO5, and I will go into the dark purple matte just a little bit. I just want to bring in a smidge of depth here. I don't want to bury the pink. I just want to slightly deepen it. I was going to tell you guys that I watched an episode with my daughter yesterday of Little House on the Prairie. It was called The Voice of Tinker Jones, or Tinker Jones' Voice, something like that. And the plot line was, we met the Tinker, and he was a mute, so he was unable to speak. He would come around and make little tin toys for the children and pots and pans for their parents and whatnot. Okay, now we'll take, let's take the green shimmer again. I just want to play into it and see what I can do with it. So we met the Tinker at the beginning of the episode, and then the conflict in the show was that the parishioners of the church wanted a bell, and one family volunteered to provide it, but then they wanted credit, and other people didn't like that they wanted credit because the church had kind of been given and built and donated by all of the townspeople. And there was conflict, because there has to be conflict. So anyway, the conflict between the parents then trickled down into squabbling and conflict between the children. We'll just echo everything on the lower lash line. Then the children were not allowed to play with each other. It was breaking up the church, breaking up the school, breaking up the town, etc. And so Tinker Jones, he kind of had enough, and he had the idea that instead of one family providing the bell and being given credit for providing the bell and causing conflict, what if he could collect enough tin to simply make a bell? So he enlisted the help of all the children who didn't like the conflict, and they wanted to be able to play together, and they wanted to be able to attend church and whatnot. So all of the children ran around town over the course of a week or so, collecting all the scrap tin that they could find, even down to like cowbells off of their family farms. And the parents were like, "Where's all our tin going?" "Oh, my baby's waking up. I'll hurry through." The tinker, he made a bell and gave it to the church as a gift, and it was sort of a surprise on Sunday morning, and everyone realized, oh, we were feuding over something silly, and it's really about giving of ourselves and praising the Lord and coming together as a community, and that was the happy ending. I was almost in tears, and I'll tell you why. It's because music is so powerful, moving, special, amazing. And Tinker Jones was mute. He wasn't able to sing with the congregation. He wasn't able to worship in the way that they were. And so he was always kind of a little bit left out. Like, he could sing in his heart, but he couldn't make sound with his voice. And singing, for me, singing is such a huge part of my life. It's so meaningful. I was completely touched and moved by this little Laura Ingalls Wilder story, which isn't even in the books, that the tinker was able to give of himself, of his skills, of his abilities, and the townsfolk unwittingly gave of themselves. And the children actually ended up taking all of their tin toys, which were precious to them, which the tinker had made for them, and they also donated them to be melted down, to be turned into this bell for the whole community. And it was just a story of silly feuding, pulling people apart, and then common interest and sacrifice bringing people back together. And for me, the most beautiful part was that the tinker was able to contribute with his own version of music. I was so touched. I'm sitting, like, we were watching it over dinner, and I'm sitting there going because it would be life-shattering for me to not have my voice. And it's not about being a good singer or anything. It's just being able to share the music that's in my heart through my vocal expression. To not be able to do that would wreck me. And it was so beautiful that the tinker wasn't able to do that. And he found a way to give of himself and to sacrifice with everything he had, his skills, his knowledge, his experience, all of the tin in his house. And then all these children came in with all the tin that they could find, and they just melted it down to make something that was bigger and more meaningful and more beautiful, and would call people to the church, and would call people to the school, and would call people into community and connection. And the tinker, even though he was mute, was able to sing. Okay, that's everything for the look. Let me tell you what I did to finish off, and then I'll kind of close out my thoughts on the whole tinker's voice thing, which I know came at the end of the video, but it was actually on my mind for most of it. In my waterline, I used a lovely dark rich purple from ColourPop. This is called, it's worn off, but I'm pretty sure it's called Champs. On my lips, I did take just a little bit of this lip liner from Italia Deluxe, 1031 Deep Purple. I didn't really line my lips. I just added a tiny bit of definition to the outer edges, and then I dabbed it into the center area just to bring in a bit more of a rich purple to that underlayer, which I had used this Hydrating Core Lip Shine from e.l.f. By the way, this shade is called Delightful. So that's it for my lips, and then for my face, I have a little bit of the Treluce blush in the shade Ready to Bounce Vacation, whatever it is. It's kind of a bright pink. I have a tiny bit on. I never do much with my face products, just a little bit of blush and a little bit of the purple highlighter from the ABH Aurora Glow Kit. Maybe you can see that, maybe you cannot. Again, the sun is just beginning to come up now, so the lighting's probably weird, but you know, you get the idea. So to finish out my thoughts, oh, I do have mascara on, and that's it. That's everything else. Make it messy, love. My toddler has joined me. Anyway, to finish out my thoughts about Tinker Jones, I think part of the reason that it was making me emotional, aside from everything that I explained, was also Kind of made me think of my dad for some reason. I'm not really sure why. If you don't know, my dad passed away a couple of months ago, and the grieving process is interesting because even though you may expect it, or you know that someone's sick, it's like, okay, time to start emotionally and mentally preparing for this reality. It hits you at weird times and in different ways and in unexpected ways. Just one little thing will set me off. And I think everyone who has experienced any level of grief is probably familiar with this, where you're just bebopping along, moseying through your day, doing your thing, and all of a sudden one thing will spark a memory, or the sound of someone's voice, or a song that they used to love, or a thing that makes you remember them, and you start crying. And it's just very unexpected. It's hard to prepare for that side of grief. It just sneaks up on you. There's no way to know when it's going to come, what's going to set you off, and the exact same trigger might not trigger you a different day. It's very odd. It's very odd. So I think that the story of Tinker Jones, for some reason, something in it made me think of my dad. I think it was just the music element, because music was probably the one thing where Dad and I most connected, because I'm a musician and he loved, like, I remember sitting and singing hymns with him, and he would tell stories, and I don't know. We didn't even connect on, like, over music on a huge level, but that was the thing that we kind of shared. We both enjoyed music. We both appreciated music. And for me, it was emotional and technical, but for my dad, it was just emotional. My dad didn't have technical training within music. He just connected with it in his soul, you know? Anyway, so that snuck up on me, and I wasn't expecting it, but that's why I wanted to share with you about Tinker Jones. It was a sweet episode. I think it's my favorite episode so far, because it was just moving. It was just beautiful that Tinker Jones was finally able to sing with the congregation in his own way, and it was lovely. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope you have enjoyed this look. Let me know what you think about the look itself. Of course, I love to hear your feedback. Appreciate your time, and I hope you have enjoyed this video. Perhaps you'll consider subscribing before you go if you like this content and you do want to see more. I upload multiple videos every week, you know, small children permitting, and I hope that you guys will come back, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!